Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. See some familiar names out there and some new people to us tonight. This is exciting. Thank you so much for being here. We would love to know where you're joining us from tonight. So if you want to put it in the chat what city you're joining us from. If you are new to Zoom, there should be a chat icon at the bottom of your screen. Just click on that and a chat box will open up. You may need to switch the to field so all panelists and attendees can see. So go ahead and drop in what city you're watching from tonight. Hi, Judy Orr from University Place. Oh, we have Bonnie's mother, sister, and brother in Chapel Hill.
Charleston, South Carolina. Alexandria.
Crofton, Maryland.
Go Cameron.
Ooh, Palo Alto, California. Welcome. I have a question from Judy. She says, how come I don't see all the other chats? You might need to switch it to, there's a to field. Can you switch it to all panelists and attendees? Did that fix it? Anna's family is joining us.
April, hi April.
Yay. So Judy, you should be able to switch it to panelists and attendees.
And also on the bottom, if you hit the chat bubble, it should open up on the right so you can see the scrolling.
And Sylvia is joining us from Alexandria. Sylvia, you answered in the Q&A, which is great. Can you just also say that in the chat, just so we know you are comfortable with that? Okay.
Wisconsin, yay.
Oh, thanks, Sylvia. All right, we'll give some other people a few more moments to join us as our dancers are warming up, and then we'll get started. To clear up any confusion, there was some communication about watching a video. We will direct you to the video during this webinar, so you haven't missed anything, and we'll tell you how to watch it in just a few moments. There you go, Judy, you got it. Good, you should start to see all the other chats coming through soon. Yes, Judy asks if there's 7 dancers, and there are 7 dancers. Thanks, Steve.
You got a shout out for her living room. It's going to wait another minute or so as people join. If you're just joining, go ahead and give a shout out in the chat where you're from. If you want to say hello to any of the dancers, if you know them, that's great too. Happy birthday, Cameron. Yep, it's
Yay,
Cameron's
happy
birthday.
Cameron, oh good. Great, okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So welcome everybody and thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Kylie Murray. I'm one of the co-artistic directors and I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Local Motion Project. I'd like to introduce Sarah Lavin, our Executive Director and co-artistic director.
Hello.
So for those of you who are new-ish to Local Motion Project, we are a nonprofit dance organization in Alexandria, Virginia that brings people together in meaningful experiences through the art of dance and movement. And we believe in the power that collective movement experiences can have on well-being. We center dance as a means of expression and connection and human understanding. And we are just very excited to have you join us with us tonight and share this process with you all. We're also joined by 7 members of the LMP Collective, our adult ensemble that focuses on multi-generational dancers. We really work to break down that idea that dancers have a short shelf life, and that dance is something that you can do for your whole life, and that performance is something that is available at all stages in your life. So let me go ahead and introduce our dancers. Bonnie Fair, Isla Connolly, Laura Hudson Press, Naya Spate-Leggett, Paulette Wilson, Cameron Estes, happy birthday, and Anna Bankson. Great. So it's not uncommon for Sarah and I to be out and about reading something, hearing something, and say to each other, ooh, that would make a really cool title for a dance piece. We have a really long list a mental list of what those titles would be. But about a year and a half ago, maybe longer, we were giving a professional development in a new space to us, and we saw on the door, "Not an exit." And it was a really kind of a cool door and a neat font, and something about that phrase just stuck out to us, and we kept coming back to it kind of jokingly, kind of playfully, until really it stuck with us. And we have really, Sarah and I dove down into conversation about what that can mean as a metaphor, and then it was so important to us that we brought it into our creative process, and now we are here creating this work, This Is Not an Exit. We began using the phrase as a framework to explore the way life can shift, the way it can change, specifically within relationships. And we've been curious to explore the essential question, if it's not an exit, then what is it? So Sarah is going to tell you a little bit more about what to expect this hour together tonight.
So we're going to share our process with you up until this point. And then we're going to welcome you into a conversation that will generate new material that we will weave into our premiere of our show, This Is Not an Exit, in February 2021. We're going to start by looking at the work that had been created up until the pandemic. And then we're going to take some of that choreography and witness it in the spaces of our dancers' homes or spaces outside, wherever they're dancing tonight, and see how that shifts for you. And then throughout the evening, we'll be asking for your responses, your reflections, ideas, in which we'll weave into improvisations, and then finally set some new choreography at the end of the evening. And because this is an open forum, we have a set of agreements or rules. Some of these will be familiar to people, some will be new. So I'll take a little pause after each one so you can just let it simmer, that we will just all agree as we move forward through this together. And the first one is to be fully present. I know that can be hard in our homes, so to the best of your ability. That there are multiple truths. Watch your airtime and chat time, staying on topic and making space for others. Keeping any personal stories told confidential. And then finally, just trusting the process tonight.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Our rehearsal process is highly collaborative. We work with writing and discussion and improvisational dance as we strive to bring in the voices of our ensemble members. So we would like to begin with a video that captures our process up to this point. We haven't always been here on Zoom. We've been in studios and performance spaces together. So right now I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the chat that's going to take you to a YouTube video. It's about 6.5 minutes long. So I'll be here if you have any trouble, but you can go ahead and, oh, the reason we're doing this is because if you try to share a video through Zoom, it's really hard and it stutters. We want you to have that full experience. So go ahead and click on that link now and watch the video. When you come back, there will be a little way to tell us that you're back. So go ahead and enjoy. Back, everyone. Thank you so much. Looks like everyone's coming back quickly. For those of you who were not able to watch, we will be sure to send you a link so you can view it after tonight. I apologize if you had any technical trouble with that. Okay, we're almost back. Looks like we're about half there. So those of you who are back, be thinking about one word that captures an experience that you had watching that. Thinking about maybe a word that captures what you saw, what you felt, or something that resonated with you. This is really helpful in our process to know how our work is being experienced and perceived to our viewers. So if you have a word for that, you can go ahead and enter that in the chat now. And Sarah, it looks like we're about 65% of the way there. So I want to give people just one more minute. Great, I'm seeing some ideas come through that chat. Confused, urgency, conversation, power, movement, control, deaccumulation, joy and sorrow, strength, frantic, breath, clearance, confusion, interconnected. Great. These are wonderful. Strength and endurance. Confusion again. Fluidity. Great. I'm going to go ahead and move forward. I'm going to go ahead and end that poll. Great. Okay.
Okay, great. So we're going to now take that choreography and watch some of it with our dancers in their spaces. So if you didn't see the video, you'll just be witnessing this for the first time, and that's fine. If you were someone who was able to see the video, you think about, you recognize any of the choreography in the space. It's okay if you don't. And we'll probably ask for some response afterwards. So see what feelings it brings up in these new spaces, tiles, separate areas, if anything changes for you in viewing this, if you had one word or phrase afterwards.
Great. Okay. So let's have dancers get in their places and go ahead and turn off your video. Great. 2, 3, 4. Okay, here we go.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here where the work gets done. You ask me if I want to leave, if I want you to leave. I want to breathe, to stop and think. Time to entertain all of the possibilities. Imagine leaving you, leaving this. Time to play it all the way through. Imagine staying, even if nothing changes. Imagine staying and changing and meeting here again in a year, 2, 10. This is how we get to the next part.
I am muted. Thank you, dancers. You can come back. And so as the dancers are coming back, I'm just going to ask the audience participants if anything came up that changed for you watching it in this environment, whether you recognized it or not from the other work. If there's anything that was different, a new word, a new phrase, an idea, if it came up, you can go ahead and throw it in the chat now. Or if anything changed for you or something you recognized, if there was a feeling that was the same. More real exits. Yeah. Perspective. Escape. Desperation transitioned to determination. Panic with resolution, claustrophobic. Dynamics were a great change with Zoom. Appropriate for current times, angst while all separated. Initial thought. So someone felt that it was the same initial thought, frantic. Yes, right. Love seeing the personal indoor space and then Naya in the outdoor space. Larger sense of urgency, synchronized entry and exit. Great. Thank you, everyone, for being so responsive. Yeah,
that's great. Thank you. Now that we've gone with that one word or phrase, we invite you to go a little bit deeper into this idea of if it's not an exit, then what is it? When you are faced with a pivotal moment or a shift in your life, you may or you may not take action. You are at a turning point. What is that choice if it's not an exit? Things that have come up for us are, if it's not an exit, maybe it's just a conversation, or maybe it's a distraction, or maybe it's something else. So thinking about that, share in the chat. If anyone would like to share with us verbally, we can make your audio come on. So you can just raise your hand. There's a way to raise hand in that chat. Or you can put a note in the chat that says, please unmute me, and we're happy to do that. An opportunity for positive change. Thanks, Ashton. Oh, and I see a hand up. I'm gonna come find you, Wayne. All right, Wayne, let's hear what you have to say. Go ahead. Oh, I'm going to unmute you now, Wayne. Sorry. Go ahead.
Are we good?
Yeah, go ahead.
We like opportunity and fork in the road.
Nice. Thank you.
That's great.
All right.
Ooh, exit as transfer. Thanks, Tasman.
Would anyone else like to share on audio? Transitions in life. Sometimes change is hard, so not taking an exit is safer and more familiar. Yeah, that's come up for us.
And also, I just read that stood out. Your mood and energy determine how you deal with it. Anna's comments were much more measured in this individual show.
A chance for new beginnings and self-reflection. Sylvia said, not an exit is more opportunity to discover something new. Bailey's sharing, it's about timing. And Teresa, sometimes change is hard, so not taking, oh, I said that one already. I just liked it so much. Not exiting is just as much a choice as exiting. Mm-hmm. A chance to go inward. Yeah.
Great. These are great. If they keep coming, feel free to throw things in as the evening goes. Don't feel like you have to stop giving ideas. But we're going to transition into exploring some of these ideas with the dancers. I'm going to pick some of these ideas and we're going to work them into an improvisation. So I'll take about 4 or 5 of them. And so dancers, just think about what I'm throwing out at you and be authentic in the movement so it can be visible to our participants how that improvisation changes with intention so they can see the difference between them. Yeah, and dancers also, you're going to explore these, but you can remember all these other ones for the chat for later in the evening.
Here we go.
Yeah. So the first improvisation, let's explore while separated.
Say that one more time, Sarah.
Angst while separated. Okay, dancers, take a pause. We'll pause until the next one, just take a breath. The next experience will be fork in the road. Fork in the road. Good, and dancers pause. Okay, think about this one. Exit as transfer. Exit as transfer. Okay, dancers, take a pause. One more. Take a moment if you need to think about it. Not as an exit, but a choice to be existing. All right, thank you, dancers. Let's everyone come back. And take a breath. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. These are heavy ideas, and to improv with something so abstract, sometimes you have to go a little deep to do that. So what I'd like to do now in the evening is take this improvisation and create more structure around it. So this is the point of the evening when these ideas turn into concrete phrases and concrete choreography. So for the dancers, I want you to pick something that resonated with you. This can be something you just improv'd about. So if something, one of those phrases, you have access to the chat. If something else stood out for you that I didn't say, then absolutely take that, because it's about what's resonating for you. It's not about what's resonating for me right now. So take a moment to think about what those are. You have not a long moment. And then I'm going to start calling on you. We're going to share them with our participants about which one you are going to pick. And during this, the phrase that you pick, the idea that you pick, you're going to create a concrete phrase that's about 10 seconds-ish, something that has a beginning and an end that you can repeat, that is a set choreography, that is not just improvisation. So we can start to build something. Are we ready? Do we have something? Okay. Kylie, I think you have control over unmuting, so I'll let you call them out.
All right, so let's, Cameron.
A chance to go inward.
Naya.
I'm doing clearance with blossoming.
Bonnie.
I will go with exit as a transfer.
Isla.
Opportunity to discover something new.
Anna.
Accepting and surrendering.
Paulette.
Exit as a transfer.
And Laura.
Blossoming into existence.
Thank you, dancers. All right, so dancers, you have about 2 minutes to come up with your phrase. Audience, at this time, we invite you to chat at us any questions or comments or thoughts. If you would like to speak, I can open up your audio if you want to share anything with us.
Or you can just sit back and watch the dancers make their phrases.
I'm actually gonna not have you watch me so we can watch.
Yeah, right, I can do that too.
So audience, we are intentionally not giving them any music right now because we're going to be playing with music a little later. And dancers, let us know if you have any questions. Mary Jo says, I'm obsessed with Isla in her kitchen. The use of props really read. Agree, Mary Jo.
Agree, Mary Jo. This is Sarah. This has been mentioned before. Wayne says we love the format and the way you're coordinating it. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne.
Glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Sylvia says she misses their voices when they improv. We know, we've turned you, Sylvia. It is a nice layer sometimes to add that voice. Okay, dancers, about 30 more seconds.
Bonnie's backlighting is adding a lot.
Whoops.
Yes, if you are commenting and you want it to come, that is what's happening.
Gotcha.
Anyone commenting, be sure that you're commenting to all panelists and attendees, not just the panelists, unless that's all you want. But if you want the entire chat to be seen, at the bottom of the chat, you can select all panelists and attendees.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Judy.
Mm-hmm. Ellen is liking that window framing on Bonnie. Yep. Okay.
All righty.
Come on back, dancers.
All right, dancers, I'm just gonna keep my video off. We're gonna go through this a few times without music, just to solidify it and let the participants see the movement that you have actually said a phrase. So you're gonna repeat it 3 times. I am going to pause between each one. All right, so do it once. When you finish your first go through, just wait, because people's phrases will be longer because we just said arbitrary 10-ish seconds. So I'll say go, or however I want to start you, and then you will stop. I'll have you do it again. We're going to do that 3 full times so we can really see the solidifying of the choreography. Yeah? Cool. All right. Dancers ready? Oh no, you're ready when you're in a frozen shape. Okay, and go. Great. We're going to do it one more time. Actually, we don't have to do it 3 times. Let's do it twice. We'll do it one more time through. All right, are you ready? Frozen shape, be ready so I know dancers are ready. And go. Thank you. Okay, so this is the point where we get to play a little bit. So I'm going to come back on just for a moment because it feels weird to explain all this without my face talking to you. So we're going to go through these phrases. Audience, you have 2 different, 2 pieces of music that you're going to watch this with. And you're going to get to choose later what you want to see this final-ish product that we're doing at the end of this. So dancers, I think for the sake of making it read long enough, let's go through the phrases 3 times. Okay? Start to finish 3 times. Have a clear beginning, a clear end, and just wherever your end is, wait. I think Paulette was going off screen for her end, and that was great. So whatever your end is, just wait until it's all done. If you want to manipulate any of the phrases, so if like you want to change a facing on the second one or something like that, obviously feel free, but keep the actual phrase work, right, within what you did. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions, dancers? We're going to do it with 1 piece of music. We'll finish. And then, Paulette, are you there? Are you just off waiting? Okay, cool. All right, just wanted to make sure. Okay. Yeah. Kylie will start the music. I'm going to come off the video and I will give some cue that you can start, but let's get in our position.
And this is in a 3 times through loop, right, Sarah? Not stopping.
3 times through loop and then stop. 3 phrases in a row. So
Great.
it's essentially a longer phrase for our audience to be able to really hear the music and see the movement to get a feeling for it.
Great.
Cool.
This piece of music starts, there's a little bit of slowness, and then it's going to pick up. So it'll shift on you dancers in about 5 seconds in. Here we go. Oh, hold on. Hold, please. Okay.
And go. Great, thank you. Awesome, take a breath. Audience, just think about how that felt for you. I'm not gonna put my video back on because we're gonna move right into another piece of music. 3 times through, same cues, clear beginning, clear end, so we know when to stop. I don't wanna cut you off, so make it really clear that you've finished. All right, the second choice of music is coming up. Everyone freeze. Let's start again. Let's start again. Let's everyone stay frozen, and then I'll cue you in when to start. Okay? Yeah. And go. Nice work, everyone. Thank you. Everyone take a breath, come back to the screen. Yeah, it was beautiful. Thank you.
Wonderful job. Okay, so audience, We just saw the same movements with 2 pieces of music, and we would love to know from you which piece you would like to see us continue to create with tonight. So I'm going to send a poll, and if you could, oops, that's funny. Well, friends. There we go. Here it comes. All right. So whether you preferred the first song or the second song. Ooh, we're neck and neck. Wow, we are really close. 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the winner is, whoops, nope, not that. The winner is number 2.
That's a clear winner, actually.
It wasn't until the very end. So thank you to those last minute, every vote counts, even those last minute voters. Thank you so much. Okay, so it looks like we're going to use Happiness Does Not Wait. And now we're going to craft a video performance of sorts based on the improvisations which have led to this phrase work created by the ensemble, but working with entrances and exits on this Zoom format. So let's see what happens. Dancers, if you could all turn off your cameras for me, please. Laura, you can go ahead and stay there. What's happening? What am I hearing? Is everybody on mute? Yes, great. Okay. Laura, I'll tell you when to begin. And anytime. Okay, I'm going to invite all the dancers back. Thank you, dancers.
Thank you so much, dancers.
That should be everybody. Well done. Beautiful work, everyone.
So we are nearing the end of our evening, but we have time. If anyone out there that's watching has a question for us, has a question for the dancers, has a question about the process, where it's going, has any feedback, we're here now for you to chat, to ask questions.
And you're welcome to send us a question in the Q&A if you don't want it to be in the chat.
Yeah.
Also, we invite you to raise your hand if you'd like us to open up your microphone so you can speak to us. While the audience is gathering their thoughts, dancers, is there anything you would like to share about that experience tonight? You can unmute yourself.
It was so interesting to see all of the feedback of the words, so many that we hadn't really discussed before. So it was so nice to have other people's points of view when looking at the movement.
Great. Thank you. We have a question from Anna. What is it like creating in your own personal and home spaces versus in a studio or a performance space? Thank you for that question. Dancers who would like to answer that? Isla, go ahead.
Well, I think the obvious thing is that there's things all around us. So I know I've just been choosing even in class to incorporate it and make it good for me. So instead of, and I do have a little bit more space, but instead of craving the dance studio, I'm like, what can I use? Like if I'm falling over, maybe I can lean on the counter, But obviously the floor is really different. So we have to be careful of our bodies because we're not using the kind of texture that we usually use. So it could be too slippery or too sticky. So there's some of those things that we have to change our movement so we can be safe too.
Thank you, Isla.
Cameron, did you want to say something as well?
I would just to agree with Isla. Yeah, it's much different being on a different floor in a different area. Some things can't be done as largely as they might be done in the studio, but also the inspiration to find various things. I mean, I hear my dogs downstairs and they give me inspiration, or just my furniture. So it's been a really different process, but interesting as well.
Great, thank you.
I'm outside, so this doesn't necessarily apply to me right now, but when I tried this inside, there's like the couch and things that would make it more stable for me to be inverted. So I think it offers more opportunities to be like upside down or like in different directions, which is actually very fun.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Naya.
Thank you, Naya. If I could add a layer to that question, and that's the use of the camera. We've had a couple of chat comments about the use of the camera. Dancers, how has it been interacting with that in rehearsals?
It's been very interesting because sometimes I'll look over at the camera because I kind of forget about it, and then my whole head is cut off or only half my body's in the screen. I was like, oh shoot, I should probably figure this out of where I'm supposed to move in, a larger space, but make it smaller to fit my camera.
Great.
Thank you. We have a question from Therese. So strong and beautiful. When you're back in the rehearsal space together, how will the individual dancers' choreography all relate? I'm going to open that up to the dancers, but as a choreographer and co-artistic director, I'm going to respond to that as well. That some of the work that we're doing here is finding some solo work, and the idea of how do we relate to one another when we are isolated? How can we relate? How can we, taking these ideas of looking through the boxes and responding to one another? And, we've had a lot of rehearsals and even dance classes that we've had at the studio about Isla has done wonderful dance classes where she has us improv off of one other dancer. And I think it's expanded our minds of what's possible. I don't think it's an either or, and I think that we're going to find ways to bring this back in. Is my personal reaction that I think I'm going to find some solo work in this, but with possible connections on the outside. Dancers, what would you like to say to that?
Well, I would say that what we've experienced before we had to isolate is that we would come up with individual movements, we'd do them in all the same space together, and then they would just start speaking to each other on their own. You'd find the connections as you go through it and see what works with what and what relates to what, whether you were thinking the same thing when you were creating it or not, but they find each other.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And funnily enough, I think that still happens on the Zoom. We just might not know it because we can't see. Like, it's actually very hard to watch the other dancers' boxes. And sometimes I wanted to, but it would be really weird if I was just staring at you while trying to dance. So maybe Sarah or Kylie or any audience member saw it happening, even if we weren't like conscious of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those moments of, ooh, this is these two things are similar and let's see what that looks like together is what would happen in the studio. And if we had another half an hour, we would play with that here too. Those of you who started with your back to the camera, several of you did that and then, walked away from it. Playing with the timing of that would be really interesting on Zoom too. And one thing that Sarah and I have talked about is the use of projected video in our performance and what role that might have further down the line.
Darren made a comment about how the added technology, like it added something to it. Like it wasn't a taking away necessarily. Mm-hmm. So I think there is something very interesting about that. And Judy, how do we find each other? We had an audition. So, yeah, we had an audition, and some people found our audition because they worked for us, but they still went through the audition process. So it wasn't a given. There was an audition process, and we put an audition out, and we curated the ensemble, the LMP collective, for this season.
Mm-hmm. We will be having another audition coming up soon, and one thing we've talked a lot about is, we set a date, and whether or not we can be in the studio or not. We now have the technology and we've taught ourselves how to use Zoom or video. So we could still have an audition if it has to be virtual as well. So that what we have learned as co-artistic directors is the rehearsal process doesn't have to stop just because we can't all be together in the studio. We want to be in the studio, but yeah.
We are coming up on the end of our evening, so I just want to say thank you to everyone and to our dancers. We are available and ready to talk to you if you want to send us emails and you want to connect with us in other ways. Kylie will send out that video if someone needs it that wasn't able to watch it this evening. Dancers, thank you. Big clap, clap, clap. That was amazing. Like a lot of this, they hadn't heard, they didn't know the music. We threw a lot at them tonight and you're amazing. And so thank you everyone who came to watch this tonight. It's very meaningful for all of us.
Thank you everyone. Have an enjoyable evening and we hope to see you again soon.